Welcome to Thoughtful Tuesdays. I'm your school's success coach, Tonia, and today I promised to review our case study about grit, where we had Justin, an eighth grader experiencing depression. And we're also going to jump into today's topic, which has to do with self-esteem, right? How do we identify when our child or student is experiencing low self-esteem and the STARS process to help build self-esteem? Okay, so let's hop into these presentations. We'll start with Justin's. Okay, the first has to do with the first question. What seems to be the heart of Justin's grief? Now, of course, you remember Justin was an eighth grader from a blended family. He has a stepfather, but he did not acknowledge him. He runs the streets at night and enjoys petty theft. He's great at basketball. His coach said that he could get a scholarship. He's shared that he cried himself to sleep every night, and he was yearning for his dad. He's expected to keep his grades up and graduate from college to help his family. Okay, so that was just a quick recap. What seems to be the heart of Justin's grief? Of course, we would, based on the evidence he shared, we could say that it's the depression, right? He is missing his father. What can schools do? Definitely provide male mentoring opportunities, uh, and um, and I will look for some resources to add to the link below. Number 3, why should schools invest in effective programs today to help Justin's future? Early interventions could provide Justin with the skills necessary to build his own resolve to be excellent, whilst processing his feelings in a very healthy way. All right, so I hope that those responses were satisfactory. We are now going to stop this share and hop into today's presentation for Thoughtful Tuesdays. Right? Learning outcomes, operational definition of self-esteem, assessing when your child or student has low self-esteem, applying the STARS process to helping your child or student. According to the APA dictionary, self-esteem has to do with the degree to which the qualities and characteristics contained in one's self-concept are perceived to be positive. Right? So how you view yourself overall is really positive, reflects the person's physical self-image, feeling good about how you look physically, their view of their accomplishments or capabilities, values and perceived success in living up to these values, and ways in which others view and respond to them also informs their self-esteem. Now that we have an operational definition, let's take a look at how to tell when a child or student is struggling with self-esteem. At home, they may be very self-critical or hard on themselves, right? Using statements like, oh, I should not have done this, or I must do that. They feel that they're not as good as other kids. They're always comparing themselves to their siblings, or if they don't have siblings, comparing themselves to other friends, or comparing themselves to other cousins, right? So we want to listen for the comparisons. The other day, for example, my 3-year-old said to me, I can't wait to show my best friend my new shoes. She's going to think that I think she used the word, let's say she used the word incredible. She's going to think that they're incredible. I asked her immediately, what do you think about your shoes? And she said, well, I like them. I think they're amazing. And I said, well, good. That is what is important, what you think about your shoes. And she added, well, my best friend would like her own shoes, right? So they're being able to help her validate herself and her own thoughts. Next, think of the times they focus on the times that they have failed rather than the times that they have succeeded, right? Dr. David Burns will call that mental filtering, focusing, really drilling down to focus on the things that were disappointing. and a sense of self-doubt, right? So children often say things like, oh, I really knew that I could do that particular problem, but I doubted myself and I chose the response that I more or less knew was not the right response. Okay, so in students, we're leaving the home, we're hopping into the school setting with students. Students may make self-disparaging comments, such as like, I'm stupid, I can't do this, I always do everything wrong, no one likes me. We don't want to roll our eyes at them and just say, oh, you need to stop thinking like that. And of course, we don't want to, say that the teacher has to become some kind of psychologist or social worker. Although, as we all know, we wear several hats, and it would be helpful to just say something like, I heard you calling yourself stupid, and what makes you say that about yourself, and just try to understand and show that you care, basically, right? That you're not judging, you just want to understand. Students may react to adversity by giving up, avoiding risk, disengaging from tasks, turning off their cameras during virtual learning. Again, so when we spoke about grit, our students may or may not have had a lot of adversity that they're trying to cope with whilst being in the classroom. you know, uh, just encouraging them, being able to identify concrete and genuine ways that they have showed improvement. For example, if you notice the child is probably speaking less in class, of course, you don't want to make an announcement that, hey, you're speaking less, but privately be able to say to the students, I noticed that you're paying a lot more attention in class, and I'm also seeing some improvement in your work. I'd like you to keep that up, for example. And you may want to give a very specific example related to the work so that they are able to connect these positive encounters and want more, right? To get more positive reinforcements. So that would be, Bandura's behavioral techniques, behavioral approaches. Students may do very well for a period of time and suddenly underperform. But I've had students say to me in some cases that they were afraid that people's expectations for them would be too high, and that maybe doing well was just a fluke. It wasn't real. It was just, they just got lucky. Right, so we want to help encourage students by holding, of course, high expectations and encouraging them to ask for help. Something as simple as that, kids sometimes say, "Oh, I could ask for help," and they don't realize, you don't necessarily have to only ask for help in the classroom by putting up your hand. You could also ask for help after class, and you see your teacher. You could ask for a few minutes to just say, I'm struggling a bit to understand this concept. Could you point me in the right direction? And teachers are more than willing to help most times, right? Close to all times, I would say. At least for the teachers that I've seen, they are really committed. Okay, now the STARS process. So we're looking at the R, which stands for retaining positives, reframing negatives, also parts and foundation of the resiliency pillars. Okay, so this is adapted from Dr. Covey's values. We just have literally just a quick snapshot here. We would ask our students to just look at the list and pull out the values or the superpowers they believed that they had, and then find examples. So let's take a look at a case study to give us some context. May is in the 8th grade. She has a C average in school and few friendships. She would often share feeling lonely. At home, she would stay to herself. She says sharing feelings or hugs isn't something that happens at home. She likes math and would like to become a teacher one day. All right, so with May, it's important to help her, just as with Justin, appraise herself. She's not getting it at home. We would get to how we could bridge the gap for her later on, actually tomorrow, during our Winning Wednesdays series. You could check in. We'll continue with me. But we want her to start recognizing that she has powerful stuff within herself, right? Her focus on the external, and of course the external plays a huge part. We also have to recognize the internal ability to validate ourselves. So I would first ask our students, like me, to identify their superpowers, and this list has approximately 30 or so values or superpowers. So May might say, well, I am loving, I'm caring, I'm kind, I'm thoughtful, uh, respectful most times, tolerant, courteous, cooperative, self-disciplined, determined, right? She may have a few of these. Say, okay, very good. Now, I'd like you to state I am and say it with a very confident voice. And of course, find examples, just one concrete example where you were loving towards someone. And she may say something like, I helped my younger brother with his homework and gave him a hug when he got all right. Right. So may not feel as though she's receiving hugs or affection, but she can definitely give it and bring about changes within her home, within her school, by evolving to being her best self. This brings us to the end of Thoughtful Tuesdays for today. We have discussed the operational definition for self-esteem according to the AP dictionary. We assessed when children or a child may have low self-esteem. And we started to look at applying the STARS process to helping children to build their self-esteem. Tomorrow, we're going to deep dive into that process. Looking forward to seeing you for tomorrow's segment, Winning Wednesdays. Feel free to email me at tloyd@rlrgresilientstars.com. And of course, you know that we are building our likes. We're going after 100 subscribers. We have 67. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Huge shout out to all of our new subscriptions, as well as thank you so much for the comments from Anthony Robinson, Deborah, Marva. Really appreciate the time you took to provide feedback. Okay, until tomorrow, where you join us for Winning Wednesdays, have a